Hello everybody and welcome back to Expert Examiner IELTS. My name is Glyn and in this video we are going to do some speaking test feedback for Tom's test. Let's check it out. Good evening, my name is Glyn. Would you please tell me your full name?
My full name is Chen Minghong, but you can call me Tom for short.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Now, in this first part of the test, I'm going to ask you some questions about yourself. Where are you from?
I'm from Vietnam, and I'm currently living in Hoan Lao Town, which is a small town.
I love the fact that he's pronounced the name of the town as clearly as possible because he understands that this town is difficult for me. So he really tries to pronounce it. Good skill.
In the middles of Vietnam.
In the middle of, not in the middles. I don't know about this S. I think maybe some people get paranoid about forgetting S in English because, you know, we need S in plural, like one pen, two pens, one person, okay, two people, one hat, two hats. And also we need our S in our third person conjugation for verbs. I like, you like, he likes, she likes. But sometimes students maybe over paranoid use S where they shouldn't. So in the middles, middle is an adjective, in the middle of Vietnam, not middles. And do you like living in this town?
Yes, of course. The scenery here is picturesque.
I don't know how natural that is. The scenery here is picturesque. To me, this is a sign that the candidate is trying to exploit language, is trying to hack the exam. Of course, the scenery is picturesque. I don't know if we can describe scenery as picturesque. The city is picturesque. Scenery is beautiful. Just sounds a little bit artificial, but okay.
People here are very friendly. They are willing
That's nice. People are very friendly.
to help each other when somebody
They're willing to help each other. Great. This is good stuff.
is in need. And
When somebody is in need, really like this like adjectival phrase, to be in need. When somebody is in need, very nice.
I think the atmosphere here is very great.
Very great is a bit grammatically strange. Great is a strong adjective, so very good, but absolutely great or really great. Very cold, but absolutely freezing or really freezing. So we don't use very with our strong adjectives. Just a tiny point. And how do young people usually spend their free time in your town?
Um, so in my hometowns, in the evenings when the children
I think he said hometowns again, so another strange S there. Did he say hometowns?
in the evenings when
Sorry, let's
the
go back.
children in my hometowns in the evenings
I definitely hear that S in my hometowns. Just a little distracting.
when the children don't have any classes, they will gather together and
I love this use of will to talk about repetitive predictive habits in the present. That shows good grammatical range.
play football. I think this is an activities that can strengthen.
Again, unactivities. So usually we have the problem with candidates that they don't use any plural forms. They only use singular forms. And for some reason, Tom is just adding a lot of S in the middles, in my towns. Yeah, and what was that one? Just want to hear it again.
An activities that can
Unactivities. Yeah, so unactivity. So usually the problem is students don't use any plurals, they only use singular, but Tom's problem is that he's using plurals where he should use singular.
strengthen their relationship, make
Strengthen their relationship, wonderful collocation.
them become the best friends.
Make them become best friends, it just sounds strange. Make them best friends is fine. And are there any famous people from your town? It's a tricky question. If the answer is no, what do you do here?
To be honest, there
Good start. Nice little cohesive device or a little adverbial phrase of comment, to be honest.
aren't any famous peoples from.
And I like the intonation here, so he's dragging it out, and that's a natural thing that we do when we do. To be honest, I don't know if there are any. It's a very natural form of pronunciation, feature of pronunciation.
My towns. It probably
Again, towns. Why do we get that plural?
is just a small town with sleepy towns, and yes, that's the
Small town, great. Sleepy town, very nice.
reason why.
That's the reason why. Good. So he sums it up nicely. Love the cohesion there. A difficult question to answer. If there are no famous people from your town, what do you do? I think he answered that well. All right, let's move on now and talk about colors. Do you have a favorite color?
So my favorite color is red. I love the red. You know, I wear a lot of red outfits, and the reason I love the red color is because
So good grammar. The reason I love the red color is because, but accessing that grammar breaks down his fluency and his intonation a little bit. Just listen to the mechanical. Oh, just 1 second. Sorry about that.
the red. You know, I wear a lot of red outfits, and the
So do you hear the mechanical? I wear a lot of red outfits. Still some intonation there.
reason I love the red color is because
The reason I love the red color. So just a little bit more mechanical there.
it represent the good luck.
It represents. So missing this S where we need it. It represents.
I mean, whenever I have a test, I usually wear the red outfit in order to get good marks.
Good use of in order to. Nice cohesive device. And are there any colors that you don't like?
Um, for me, I don't like
Nice personal language. For me, I don't like.
green color. It's because it's too bright for me, and
Again, that consonant cluster. It's. We want to hear that. We just hear is. Is too bright. Just a small point.
just imagined having a green bedroom is just make me like
It's just make me. So grammatical slip there. So there's poor grammatical control. It makes me, not it is make me. It's make me. It makes me. This is present simple. I understand that many learners of like A2, B1, even B2, and sometimes even C1 continue to make that mistake. It is looks like, it is makes me, it is depends on. But really, we're hoping at higher levels we should control this better.
shiver.
Okay, it makes me shiver. I like that word shiver. Still demonstrating good vocab. So questions are becoming a little bit more difficult and the fluency is breaking down just a little bit, but he's still finding good vocab. All right, let's talk about bags now. How often do you use a bag?
Quite often, to be honest,
I like that, just straight in there. Quite often, to be honest. Very nice.
when I go to the store, I will often be given
Again, this use of will to talk about present habits. Very good.
plastic bag to use to get my all the products that I bought, and this is very convenient for me. But I think using too much plastic bag can
Cool. Jaron as a subject, using too much plastic bags. Okay, he means too many plastic bags.
have such a negative impacts on the environment overall. So
Cool. So this familiar language he groups well, right? Such a negative impact on the environment overall. That's language that's comfortable for him, part of his communicative repertoire, so it comes out of him a lot more naturally. Whereas when he's reaching for unfamiliar language, it just takes him a bit more time. Oh, sorry about that.
I think in the future I will like reduce using plastic bags.
Cool. So he links it to the future too, which I know is a common strategy for some candidates to show off more grammatical range. You know, if you have a question, answer with the present, the past, and the future, right? Do you have a lot of friends? Yeah, I do have a lot of friends, but you know, I used to have more, and I think in the future I will also have many friends. A lot of students try to use that strategy. I wouldn't recommend it for every question, but sometimes it can be a good way to show grammatical range. And when you were younger, did you have a school bag?
Yes, of course. School bag is like
Yes, of course. Duh, duh, duh. Good intonation.
an important and necessary things for a
Necessary thing.
student like me.
And again, he used necessary things. Again, I don't know why he used the plural. It's a necessary thing. It's just here.
Yes, of course. School bag is like an important and necessary things for
School bag, singular, is important and necessary things. Why plural? I can't understand. I know I know it happens. I know there are these what we call fossilized mistakes. There are these mistakes that are deep inside our brain and they are just impossible to fix. But for an IELTS test, I obviously Tom is a very very strong speaker. It's just a pity that these very, very simple mistakes with singular and plural can really pollute some of his language.
student like me. Even now, I'm using a school bag. It's very useful. I don't need to carry all the things on my hand all the time, and yeah.
Carry all the things in my hands, not on my hands, but okay, just small collocation. What kind of things do you usually have in your school bag?
Let me see.
I love that buying time. Let me see, looking up. Good stuff, very natural.
Books, of course, some pens to take notes, and um, and of course my glasses. Yes, I have to bring a pair of glass.
A pair of glass. And have you ever lost a bag? So this question is, have you ever lost a bag? But unfortunately, the candidate misunderstands the question.
Unfortunately, I'm not a well-off person, so I don't have so much money to splurge out on.
And it's a pity because he uses great language here. I'm not a well-off person. Well-off, adjective. I don't have enough money to splash out on. Nice phrasal verb, to splash out on. But he's just misunderstood the question. He's heard, do you have lots of bags? But the question was, have you ever lost a bag?
Buying different types of bags, so I think I have like two
Okay, I think that S is creeping in there again for some reason.
bags.
So he's misunderstood the question, but okay, it's fine. We take the test as a whole. If you misunderstand one question and give a wrong answer, it's not going to kill you. It's not going to affect your mark at all. You know, if you do this many, many times, okay, fine, you can lose points for coherence, but doing it once in part one, okay, forget about it. All right, now in this next part of the test, okay, so that's the end of part one. What can I say about Tom? Well, he has some very, very good natural communication skills. I like the way that he responds to questions. He shows good intonation here. Well, of course, that type of stuff, it's all good. His fluency and coherence is a mixed bag. Sometimes he has really good fluency and ideas are presented clearly, but when he's reaching for difficult language, he does need to rely on slow speech in order to continue speaking at length. So I don't know if there's enough for the 7 for fluency. Might be, depends on the rest of the test. The moment he's on the border between 6 and 7. In terms of pronunciation, generally quite easy to understand. He does have some problems accessing those or delivering those consonant clusters where you have like 2 or 3 consonants together, consonants. So he has some problems with consonant clusters, but in general it's easy enough to understand him. His intonation is fine, doesn't have the it shows some signs of connected speech, but not a great amount. Sentence stress seems to be okay. Vocab is probably his strongest point. His grammar, he shows good range, but this constant mistake with S, constant over and over and over again, I think there has to be a ceiling of 6. Even if the rest of his grammar is great, I wouldn't be comfortable giving him a 7 if we keep getting mistake after mistake after mistake with this singular plural or S where it shouldn't be, middles, I thinks, and other problems. Yeah, so let's see what happens in part 2. I'm going to give you a topic. So let's analyze the question first of all. Okay, so that's describe a rule you had to follow when you were in school. Okay, nice opportunity to use past modals here. Had to, we weren't allowed to, we weren't supposed to, all of that type of language. Again, it's past time, so you do have an opportunity, but it's not really a story, so maybe not so many narrative tenses, but certainly past time constructions and past modals for sure. Say what happened if students broke the rule. This is a tricky conditional because many people might think it's a third conditional, but it's not. It's either a zero conditional in the past. Probably it is a zero conditional in the past. what happened usually if students broke that rule usually. So all of the rules that you learn about conditional, like, oh, if plus past simple is second conditional. Well, it's not always. English grammar is a lot more complicated than that. But okay. Forget about this grammar. Let's see how he does in general. The end of your preparation time. To remind you, you will have between 1 and 2 minutes to give your talk, and I will let you know when the time is up. Can you start speaking now, please?
Okay, so today's I'm gonna talk about a
Today's I'm gonna talk, sir. Strange, this S is still appearing.
rule that I find it very difficult to follow, and that is no electrical devices in my school.
Electronic devices, electrical devices. I'd probably say electronic devices, but okay, I don't care.
So my school prohibit every student.
My school prohibit. So if it's okay, he's talking about the present because he's a high school student. Now, usually the IELTS exam is aimed at people, at adults, at least people who are 18 or above. And so whenever they have questions about school, they always use past time because they assume that the candidate is no longer in school. And this task requires you to talk about past time. But because Tom is still in high school, it's fine that he's using present time. But still, my school prohibits should be used instead of my school prohibit.
From using electrical devices.
But still, prohibit somebody from doing something is very good. So in terms of the vocab, that's good. Good collocation. Prohibit somebody from doing something. And it is a complex grammatical structure, but missing the third person S. And that's always a big frustration as an examiner when you see candidates using a great range of structures, using complex grammatical structures, but continually making mistakes with the basics. It's a pity.
Such as smartphones or even computers, to name a few.
To name a few, nice.
And the reasons behind this policy is because
The reasons behind this policy, very, very, very nice.
My school assume that
Again, missing that S, my school assumes, not assume.
if the students use mobile phones or mobile phones in the class, they will be distracted from what the teacher teach them. And
What the teacher teach them, what the teacher teaches. So when we need this S, he doesn't use it, and when we don't need the S, he uses it. It's a pity.
cannot focus on the lesson, thereby in order to improve
Good cohesion, a little bit strange in speech, thereby, a bit strange in speech.
the academics,
Academic, not academic, but academic. Academy, but academic. Academy, academic. Academy, academic.
academic success, academic skills, and ensure that our students have such an like good results. Our
Ensure that our students have such a good result. Very, very, very high level stuff.
school decided to totally ban the use of
Split infinitive to totally ban. I am fine with split infinitives. Anyone who says that we shouldn't split the infinitive, like to totally ban, anyone who says that we shouldn't do that and it's breaking the rule, no, I will argue with them to death.
technical devices. And for me, as a person who have to use
As a person who uses, as a person who has to use.
internet a lot,
Again, internet. So he says a person who have to use internets. I say, a person who has to use the internet. So I don't know why this S is continually added to nouns in the singular, but not added to verbs in third person conjugation. But okay, that's it. I'm not going to say any more about S. It's enough. We've had enough, and I'm not going to talk any more about it.
Find this rule kind of stringent. I mean, some students may use them for like bad purposes, but the others can use them for their study. For example, if we have a we can go
reformulation here, right? So the bit of reformulation is natural, but just notice how he starts, stops, starts again, false starts, reformulation. Listen to it here.
if we have a we can go to the internet and
So it takes him a while to get to find, to say, to speak, to use the right construction.
find the material that can support our studies at a few clicks without
At a few clicks, very nice.
having to ask
Without having to, I like it so much. Without having to, it's so nice.
to teachers in person, ask to teachers all the times. And I mean, this not only help the students study at their
Okay,
own pace.
thank you. Thank you. All right. All right, so that's the end of part 2. What can I say? Well, the same problems in part 1 with the grammar is persistent here. That problem with S, great, we've spoken about it. In order to speak at length, the candidate shows that they have to slow down. So in order to speak at length, they slow down a lot, and this stops them from really getting the best scores in the score of fluency and coherence, because it's just broken down. So I think we can rule out the 7. Probably it will be 6 now for fluency and coherence. Vocab is still amazing. Tom's knowledge of English in general is fantastic. He knows a lot of very natural constructions, and he uses vocab with sophistication. Pronunciation is generally easy to understand. We do have some slips, some wrong stress in some words. Sentence stress is still okay, but sometimes breaks down when he spends some time thinking about what he wants to say. But let's get into part 3. I'm not listening for anything in particular. I think grammar I've already decided. I think fluency and coherence I've already decided. Vocab I've already decided. Maybe just focusing a bit more on pronunciation in part 3. All right, so you've been talking about a rule that was difficult to follow when you were in school. Now let's move on and talk about crime. Do the police in your country have a good reputation?
Actually, I would say yes. Like the the police,
I would say so. It's better than I would say yes. I would say so.
the the police in my hometown is very is very helpful. Is very is very attentive.
A lot of repetition is very.
I mean, they tackles all the criminal issues and always try to keep where I live safe. Yes.
And how much of a problem is crime in the place where you live?
Can you repeat the question?
How much of a problem is crime in the place where you live?
So in where I live, the most common crime is steal.
So good chunking. Where I live, pause. The most common crime is still. So even if the fluency is damaged a little bit, we can still use good sentence stress.
Like sometimes
and chunking.
Sometimes there's gonna be somebody try to get into your house and steal something. And to be honest, this kind of crime is pretty ubiquitous in my hometown.
Ubiquitous. So great word, but not quite pronounced. Ubiquitous.
And
ubiquitous means it's everywhere.
They have caused a lot of damages to the residents living here.
And so there are some features of connected speech. I will point them out. Like when he says to be honest, he doesn't use the full form of to. He doesn't say to be honest. He says to be honest, to be honest. So this is good. Just going to listen to see if there is more, if there's more evidence of good connected speech. Sometimes where he used present perfect, like they have done, instead of using they've done. So maybe that's a little bit strange, but let's focus on connected speech for this next answer. And has this kind of crime always been popular in your town?
To be honest,
Bit of a repetition of this, to be honest, but to be honest, good intonation, and it is connected.
Like 2 or 3 years ago, it
2 or 3 years ago, so he's linking that S to the ago. 2 or 3 years ago, good.
didn't, it wasn't that popular, but
Wasn't that popular. The T is elided, it disappears. Wasn't that popular because it's next to a P. You probably don't know all of these rules. It's okay.
after like COVID-19 breakouts, the unemployment rate has increased a lot.
Increased a lot. So I don't like the fact that he's using like the full form of have or has. The employment rate has increased a lot. I think we should use the weak form there. The unemployment rate has increased. The unemployment rate has increased a lot. The unemployment rate has increased a lot. But I like his increased a lot, where he gets that a lot.
Breakouts, the unemployment rate has increased a lot.
Increased a lot. Good.
So many people have to resort to stealing.
Have to resort, not have to, but have to. Have to resort to. Have to resort to. So some connected speech, but it's not maintained or sustained.
In order to have money to.
In order to have money, not to have money, but in order to have money. Those are the type of features we look for at the highest levels. So if you're looking at band 9 and 8, we want this sustained use of connected speech. Tom shows some use, but not sustained use.
Provide their basic needs. And that's
Basic
the reason
needs.
why the crimes has increased a lot.
What do you think governments can do to stop this kind of crime?
I think the government need to tackle the underlying cause of this problem.
Beautiful. The underlying cause of this problem. So nice.
The first one is they need to provide the work opportunity for these people. When these people have stable job and can secure a living, they will not they will not engage in engage in illegal activities.
To engage in illegal activities. Amazing vocab.
And the second thing is that they need to boost the security system. Like they can employ more police to my hometowns in order to boost the security here.
And do you think having CCTV or street cameras is a good idea?
Yes, I think that a brilliant idea in order to secure.
Bit of overuse of in order to. Had it many, many times now.
The safeties of where I live. For example, in my hometowns, nearly every house has.
So he is developing his answers well. I like the way that he's developing his answers. It's just it's not done in a very fluent way, but he is attempting to develop and extend.
CCTVs or camera in order to protect the houses. This not only protects them from some stealings, but also help.
Not only but also Now there is a more difficult construction at C1. Like instead of it not only does something, we can use this not only does it do something. It's a very complicated construction, but it's another way of using this not only. It's the grammar point is called inversion. So if you do a Google search for like grammar inversion not only, you will see those interesting patterns.
Them to report to the police if anything's happened.
And finally, how can criminals use the internet to scam people?
So scamming people on the internet has become more and more common nowadays.
Great, and its great grammatical range has become more and more common nowadays. Using present perfect there is perfect. It's just, again, scammings he used, I think, at the beginning. This S is just systematic and persistent.
Especially with the proliferations of.
Again, proliferation is amazing, but proliferations, no.
Social media platform, they use a lot of gimmicks, a lot of tricks. especially one that take advantage of people breach, like if the, for example,
People greech. I didn't quite get that word greech, but really like tricks and gimmicks. That's all good.
they will send you a link and this will tell you that if you click in this link and
Again, this use of will to talk about present repetitive behavior. Very nice.
registers and post your personal information in there, you will receive a huge amount of monies. And to be
So his fluency and coherence is so good here. Or maybe not the fluency is good, but the coherence is so good, and the development of the answer is so good. The speed, the pace is a problem, and the mechanical breaking down and a bit of hesitation, relying on slow speech. But it's tricky. Tricky.
honest, there are many people that has been swindled out of hundreds of millions.
Many people who have been swindled out of many millions of dollars. It's incredible grammatical range. Is it enough to save him though because of all of these problems with S? It's tricky because there's so much to like, but then there's also so much pulling him down with grammar.
Vietnam Dong in my country.
Do you think this problem will get better or worse in the future?
I think this will be worse in the future because, as we all know, the technology is more and more advanced, and the tricks and the scam, the scam that those people use are become more and more intelligent. So in the future, I think
I don't know if the scams can become intelligent. The people behind the scams can be intelligent, but the scams, I don't know.
is gonna be a very serious problem.
Is gonna be nice. I like this gonna be. Okay, thank you. That is the end of the test. All right, so this one is quite a tricky one to mark. Where do we begin? Well, we begin with grammatical range and accuracy. No, we don't. We begin with fluency and coherence. Let's put this up. Sorry about that. Okay, so fluency and coherence. Do we give the 6 or the 7? So arguments for the 6 is that he really has to rely on slow speech in order to speak at length. It doesn't come out in a natural flow. It's breaks down. The breakdowns aren't that common. Yeah, so because there aren't that many breakdowns and reformulations, I think maybe we can award. Oh, is it? Can I really say it's 7? Can I really say he has C1 fluency and coherence? I don't think so. I think it has to be 6. So let's mention the positive points first. So let's go with you. You extend. Sorry about that. You extend and develop your answers wonderfully well at times. Unfortunately, I can't award C1 for fluency and coherence simply because you rely so much on slow speech to speak at length. You can speak at length and it's great, and your ideas are wonderful and they are very clear and you express them very well. But because that fluency, because you have to rely so much on slow speech, I'm awarding the 6, not the 7. Sorry about that. Lexical resource 8, easy for this one. Maybe not absolutely perfect, but not far away from the 9. Your lexical resource is incredible. You use a very wide range of vocab, naturally and with sophistication, showing good awareness of style and collocation. Might be a few slips in collocation that maybe just stops him from getting to that absolute 9, but I wouldn't be surprised if he got a 9 for lexical resource because his vocab really is that good. But for me, just shy of the 9, just short of the 9 a little bit. So 8 for this. Grammatical range and accuracy, I'm giving 6. I can't give 7. Again, I'll start with the positive stuff. Again, you have a good range of sentences. Cool. Okay, so in order to get a 6, you need to have, simple and complex sentences. Fine, no problem there. You also have an excellent range of grammar. You use different tenses, you use different modality, you use active voice, you use passive voice. Your range of grammatical structures is very strong. Unfortunately, you have an almost constant stream of mistakes with S, which make it very rare for you to have back-to-back error-free sentences. And that's really what we want. For 7, we want to say that most of the sentences, or at least many of the sentences, don't have mistakes. And I can't say that about you simply because this S, if you get rid of the S, you have grammatical range and accuracy possibly easily for 7, maybe even 8. But you have to be disciplined, you have to train, and you have to work on this thing with S. Pronunciation, I think we can award the 7 for this. There are some occasions where you lose a little intonation, but in general, your intonation and sentence stress is good. You have a nice range of phonological features. Sometimes you struggle with consonant clusters, with like 2 or 3 consonants together, like many people in East Asia. Unfortunately, it's difficult. You show some good signs of connected speech, but this isn't sustained over the whole test. So I think that's fair. What do we have? 6, 8, 6, 7. Okay, time to do some mathematics. 6, 8, 6, 7. So 6, 8, 6, 8 would be a 7. 6, 8, 6, 8 would be a 7. So 6, 8, 6, 7. It gives us a 6.5, which seems unfair. It really seems unfair because the candidate is better than 6.5. For sure, the candidate has C1 English. This score gives him 6.5, but his level of English is higher. I know his level of English is higher. And so the key things to work on, I don't want to write too much here. S and S and S and S. Fix that. It will help you enormously. It will take your grammatical range and accuracy up to an 8 if you eliminate this mistake totally. In terms of fluency and coherence, it's always a difficult thing. How can I be more fluent, right? It's what every candidate asks. How can I be more fluent? How can I be more fluent? First of all, understanding what fluency is one thing. Understanding that fluency talks about like latency, the time between the question and the answer. It also talks about a speed of speech, and that's what most people think of when they think of fluency. They think of the speed of speech. Now, because there's very little reformulation, there is some reformulation in the candidate's language. His focus is on accuracy. So I know it's always a balancing act. Try to worry less about finding complex vocab and grammar. There are some fluency. Yeah, maybe I would just say this: research how to be more fluent and do some practice exercises. There are some great exercises out there that can help you with fluency. Maybe I should make a video on fluency. Often it's a very difficult thing that takes people a lot of time to learn, but it is a skill. It is not a competence. It is not something that you kind of learn in your brain like mathematics or science. You have to practice it like riding a bicycle, like swimming in a swimming pool. You have to get used to speaking. You have to feel comfortable speaking. You have to speak regularly. Yeah, it's a tricky thing to work on. But I really think the first thing and the most important thing is really to work on that S, 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 and S, because that is really bringing your grammar score down. But okay, a lot of stuff to like. a lot of stuff to like in the candidate's performance. 6.75 overall. Just make sure I'm getting that right. Yeah, 6.75 overall, so between 6.5 and 7, but it rounds down to 6.5. But a good attempt from Tom, and certainly a lot of positive features to his language. Anyway, I hope you found this video useful. Please do let me know if you have any comments or if you have any suggestions or even requests for different kinds of videos. People have started requesting some tutorials on writing. Yeah. And of course, if you'd like your own free practice speaking test with feedback, or if you'd like a writing check for any of the IELTS parts, could be academic or general, IELTS writing task 1 or task 2, then feel free to contact me. Information on how to contact me is given below. Still, so many people leave comments like, how can I contact you? How can I contact you? Information on how to contact me is given below under this. My Gmail, my Facebook, and my Twitter or X, so you can contact me there. But for now, I'll leave it there. Thank you very much, and bye bye.